If you thought the biggest twist in Evita was the plot, think again. Rachel Zegler's backstage drama could be the real showstopper.
We forget while everyone was enjoying the film, the actors were being paid residuals. Like, they were literally being paid barely anything for their work, and we wonder why Rachel Zegler is speaking out against this. Like, I don't know, maybe it makes perfect sense because that was her first experience with the film industry, and like, yeah, she was kind of screwed. Like, yeah. And listen, she turned out fine. Like, she's making a lot more money than I am, but, you know, I would be pissed too!
They tried to caution her in hushed hallway conversations, but she ignored every hint, and now the bill could land squarely in her lap. Fresh, fiery whispers out of Broadway suggest Rachel Zegler may be staring at a jaw-dropping $5 million penalty tied directly to her conduct on the Evita set.
I've been getting a lot of hate comments lately, which is really hilarious, but they're all from the same girl, and it's actually hilarious. Like, her comments tell me that I'm not fit to play princesses. Then why have I played two? I have another callback for the West Side movie in early June. I'll let you guys know how that goes, and otherwise I'm just balling. I'm just living my best life.
She didn't walk off. She didn't quit. Instead, insiders claim a string of on-set blow-ups activated a hidden tarnish. The show clause buried in her contract producers almost never invoke that clause unless everything has gone haywire. And word is, they're ready to wield it like a sledgehammer. The bombshell drops just after Rachel finally spoke up about Eva's implosion, reportedly blaming fellow performers and insisting she'd been undermined from day one. Now it appears the production team is striking, back aiming straight for her wallet, $5 million for comments made off stage, and her reps have only offered a tight-lipped no comment.
It's all Rachel Zegler and her behavior. And if it was just one comment, it probably would have been forgotten by now. But it was comment after comment, and it was pissing off everybody, pissing off all of America. And it became such a disaster that they had to shut her up, which was the smartest move they made. But the onus is all on her.
Sure, it feels like every aspect of this just seems to breed controversy, and yet that's just another aspect of it. By all accounts, they do not get on particularly well.
Meanwhile, behind the curtain, chaos reigns, and the next move could upend everything she's built. Then came the leaked DMs. In those alleged private chats, Rachel blasted the Evita cast for poisoning the atmosphere, swearing the whole gig was a setup designed to push her out. The internet erupted. Some fans cheered her for speaking up. Others slammed her for throwing colleagues under the bus.
Yeah, and she's the same lovely soul who just put out a message wishing Trump supporters that they never know peace. So we have an epidemic on our hands of out-of-touch actresses and celebrities. I mean, why accept a role if you clearly despise it of a beloved classic? Like, maybe don't take that role then.
Meanwhile, the cast kept stone silent. No confirmations, no denials. Just an eerie quiet that made the situation feel even darker. Sources close to the show say those leaks weren't merely embarrassing. They were the final straw. Tensions had already been simmering, missed rehearsals, passive-aggressive moments, crew complaints stacking up. Now producers have dusted off the paperwork, highlighted that punitive clause, and are reportedly preparing to deploy it aimed right at Rachel's bank account.
I am just thoroughly convinced that Rachel Zegler is the unluckiest lucky person that has ever existed. Like, we just need to take a look through of her entire career, and like, you'll understand once you see. Okay, so first, imagine you have the voice of an angel. Like, she has one of the best singing voices that I've ever heard. At 16, she starts auditioning for the part of Maria in West Side Story. But mind you, this isn't any West Side Story remake. This is a Spielberg West Side Story remake. And at 17, you get the part, right? Your first ever acting job is playing the lead in a Spielberg movie. Insane. But then your co-star has all of these allegations come out, so they ramp down all of the PR for this movie. Then your co-star for one of your next movies is also a terrible person. Okay, maybe third time's the charm. You get cast to play the Snow White. But never mind, your co-star is a Zionist. Literally pray for her.
If they move forward, the damage won't just dent her image, it could demolish the foundation she spent years constructing. If producers go through with their plan, she could be hit with a multi-million-dollar penalty. And here's the wild twist: insiders say the money isn't even the main point, it's about sending a warning. What followed stunned even her most loyal supporters. Big-name performers like Rachel Zegler never signed simple paperwork. Their deals are layered with clauses most people never. Hear about clauses meant to shield the show and keep the star in line. Fresh leaks on theater forums claim Rachel's Eva contract includes a conduct and reputation clause. In short, if she does or says anything on stage or off that harms the production's image or bottom line, she pays the price tag up to $5 million. That figure isn't random, it's reportedly linked to production costs, marketing spend, and projected ticket revenue money. The show could lose if its lead becomes a PR disaster.
Yeah, this girl doesn't really help the movie. The more she speaks, the less people want to watch it. And users in the comments didn't hold back. She's paid for a movie nobody asked for and still nobody wants. Yep, and another one, bro, she just blew up. Can she chill? She's been in like 3 movies. Exactly,
After weeks of leaks, backstage tension, and viral backlash, sources say producers are combing through her contract line by line, not just because of what Rachel allegedly said, but because the fallout is making the show look bad. Broadway runs on ticket sales, not drama. And DeVita is already feeling the heat. Fans are picking apart rehearsal clips frame by frame, and Rachel's name is trending for chaos. Instead of talent, producers have reportedly called in lawyers to see if her public flare-ups, leaks, blow-ups, missed rehearsals count as a breach. The problem clauses like this are almost never enforced. They're usually a last resort threat. The fact anyone's discussing it out loud means things backstage are truly unraveling. Rachel's team, total silence, no denials, no spin-fueling speculation that she really could face a $5 million hit for losing her cool. Or maybe it's the producers cranking up pressure, reminding her who's in charge. Either way, if they pull the trigger, everything changes.
The definition of toxic. Everywhere she shows up, disaster is right behind her.
So what did Rachel do to push them this far? Insiders say it wasn't one blow-up. It was a pattern. Several different leaks ranging from shadow anonymous crew posts to whispers from castmates paint a picture of Rachel's backstage presence turning tougher by the day as Eva rehearsals dragged on. One viral comment labeled her emotionally unpredictable, saying she could sit silent and withdraw in 1 minute, then flare up the next. Whenever choreography or notes didn't sync with her vision, she's the definition of toxic everywhere she shows up. Disaster is right behind her. Another insider recalled tense edge of explosion exchanges with vocal coaches and choreographers, not outright screaming, but frost. Sharp confrontations that left the room on edge and everyone else afraid to chime in. Reports piled up: late arrivals, sudden early exits with no explanation, long stretches where she'd stonewall feedback entirely. A few sources even claimed she skipped critical prep sessions, forcing colleagues to scramble around her absence. She believes that
she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences to everybody else. In reality, you have a job. You're getting paid to do this job. You signed on the dotted line. You took on the role. And that job comes with certain basic responsibilities. And one of the most basic is the responsibility to control yourself and comport yourself a certain way publicly so that you don't harm the project, thereby harm all the hundreds of other people who are working on it.
Then came the incident that allegedly tipped everything. A crew member, still unnamed, filed a formal complaint after Rachel snapped at them during a late-night tech run. No exact quotes have surfaced, but the grievance was logged and handed to the higher-ups. From that moment, insiders say the producers switched to lawyer mode. They dug out the contract, flagged the conduct clause, and started doing the math on what they could enforce if the spiral continued. And remember, this all unfolded before the private DMs leaked, before Rachel allegedly blamed her castmates, before fans turned sour, before she broke. Her public silence and the story blew wide open to outsiders. Her first statement seemed like Rachel finally taking charge. To producers, it was another escalation. A star going rogue while Rachel keeps quiet. Those same producers are said to be documenting every misstep, ready either to pressure her into submission or build a bulletproof case to pull that doomsday clause, because from their side, this isn't mere tabloid fodder anymore. It's about asserting control, and their next play may be the boldest yet.
Was a crime of woke feminist commie lunacy. So that leaves us with she, her, hers. Rachel Zegler. Zegler? I'm not sure. The partner in crime and one of the most entitled, toxic,
I'm a narcissist.
man-hating, nasty bitch. The last part, her words. Who single-handedly actually annoyed everyone so bad they skipped this mess. Well played.
When the leaks hit, fans assumed Rachel Zegler held the steering wheel, but insiders insist the opposite. While Rachel allegedly fired off blame-filled messages, the Evita producers sat in studied silence. No statements, no denials, no cast defense, just paperwork. Sources now claim that $5 million clause isn't primarily about collecting cash. It's a warning shot, a reminder that her contract is a tether, and they grip the other end by letting word of the clause spread without ever opening their mouths. The producers may have seized the narrative and the power without lifting a finger. Fear is doing the talking. Now fear of bankruptcy, fear of lawsuits, fear of that career-killing label hard to work with for a rising star that's a death sentence. Some insiders think the timing is no accident. Why leak the contract clause right after Rachel's blame game statements? Because word has it, the producers finally snapped. They were tired of backstage tension, non-stop PR fires and watching ticket, revenue tumble with every new headline. The message is clear: fall in line or we'll drown you in paperwork. That kind of pressure doesn't merely quiet a celebrity, it isolates them. Everyone in the room now knows who wields the power, and it's not Rachel. She may have thought going public would seize the narrative instead. It may have triggered a response she can't roll back, so bluff or not, are the producers really ready to slam down a $5 million penalty as news of the possible fine spread? Fans did what fans always do. They picked sides, and the internet became a battlefield side. One, she finally went too far. Actions have consequences. A viral tweet put it bluntly. She's acted like a diva for months. If producers hit back good, that attitude isn't rare. Since her Snow White comments, Zegler has attracted criticism for arrogance, immaturity, and a generally chaotic PR trail. Reddit lit up overnight. One user wrote, "She's torching her own career in real time." Another added, "Bro isn't Hollywood, you can't storm out and walk away." Clean side 2, her longtime supporters they call the rumored fine unfair, even cruel. She's being scapegoated. One TikTok fan argued, "Why treat a 22-year-old under insane pressure like a criminal for showing emotion?" They also note the producer's silence. If the fine is real, why no official confirmation? It feels, they say, like strategic leaks to sway the press. Then came the comparisons: male stars who've cursed out directors, stormed off sets, and kept working, no million-dollar punishments. The debate has shifted from Rachel's behavior to how young women are treated when they push back. Did she bring this on herself, or is she a public example meant to keep others quiet? Either way, the divide keeps widening and Rachel remains silent. If Rachel stays quiet, the rumor mill will just crank up louder, and the next twist might land not on social media, but in a courtroom. A $5 million hit isn't a wrist slap. It's a career earthquake. But is the penalty actually collectible or just legal theater? Opinion among armchair attorneys and real lawyers on podcasts is split. One camp says yes. If the contract's conduct clause is airtight and producers have a paper trail, staff complaints, documented disruptions, they can absolutely go after damages tied to reputation or revenue loss. The other camp says it's messier to win. Producers must prove her behavior directly hurt the show's bottom line. A high hurdle when Evita still sells tickets and Rachel still clocks in. That's why many think the fine is a scarecrow meant to remind Rachel who holds the leash without dragging her through public litigation. Yet here's the kicker. Real or bluff, the rumor alone already scarred her image in the court of public opinion. Rachel's name now flashes alongside on-set chaos, monster penalty, and war with producers. Whether she pays a dime, the cautionary tale is out there, and when your brand turns into a warning label, a career can collapse fast. Rachel weathered the Snow White backlash. She muscled her way onto Broadway. But this moment could be the tipping point unless she plays her next move with surgical precision. So where do we stand after weeks of radio silence and the meltdown of one of Broadway's most anticipated revival? Rachel finally spoke, not via press release or terrary video, but through whispers amplified until they felt like fact. And the headline wasn't, "I'm sorry." It was, "They set me up." That's not an apology. It's a counterpunch. Now the conversation stretches beyond what derailed Evita. It's larger. Who is Rachel Zegler when the spotlight turns harsh? Look at the record rehearsal turmoil corroborated by multiple crew members, long-rumored clashes with cast, friction with the director and vocal coach severe enough that staff allegedly threatened to walk. Yet in Rachel's telling, now bouncing across TikTok and Reddit, she's the trapped one, singled out, undermined, sabotaged. It's a gripping tale, but also, let's be honest, a pretty handy one. We've seen Rachel Zegler tread this road before. During the Snow White press cycle, she slammed the original plot, mocked the prince, and alienated the very audience Disney needed. Rather than soften her stance, she doubled down, branding critics weird, misogynistic relics. Next came the Shazam fury of the gods flare up. Rachel openly admitted she took the gig for the paycheck, prompting backlash from fans and the studio alike. No apology, just a rapid-fire Twitter block spree. Then silence, cue Evita, and the familiar choreography returns. Disappear when backlash erupts. Let curiosity build. Leak a version where you're misunderstood, then reemerge as the survivor, not the culprit. Crisis management. In 4 neat acts, eventually, though a strategy can start looking like a pattern. No matter the headline, one constant remains. Nothing is Rachel's fault to her supporters, that's strength. They argue she's a young Latina navigating a ruthless industry eager to silence outspoken women. And they're not wrong. Hollywood is brutal Broadway. Even more so, especially for outsiders without traditional training. Maybe Rachel was cornered. Maybe the set was toxic. Maybe her pleas went unheard until everything boiled over. Still, there's a difference between telling your side and blaming everyone else. Evita didn't implode in a vacuum. Dozens of pros, choreographers, lighting techs, vocal coaches, ensemble dancers were in the trenches. When the show fell apart, they all felt the impact. Those leaks and subtle shots might buy Rachel sympathy in some circles, but they're alienating colleagues who feel tossed aside to save a star's brand. Keep playing the victim long. Enough, and even loyal fans ask, okay, but where's your accountability? That's the crossroads now. Rachel Zegler's career is far from over. She's talented, driven, magnetic, but raw talent minus humility is a tough sell. If her final move in the Evita saga is to spin the story, shift blame, and walk away unscathed, she'd better brace for the fallout. Hollywood loves a comeback, but it never forgets a burn. Every scorched bridge, every slighted co-star, every whispered backstage tale doesn't vanish. They accumulate, echoing into whatever comes next. So we return to the core question: is Rachel owning her story or talking her way out of it? Depends on whom you ask. Some say she's seizing the narrative. Others think she's deflecting and digging deeper. One thing is certain. This chapter isn't the finale. It's the opening act of what's still to come. Stick around, this saga is just heating up.